Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Portrait of Pirates Playback Memories Miss All Sunday, also known as Nico Robin. Now this is a re-release of the figure because I believe the aftermarket got pretty insane on it, and they have been re-releasing quite a few Portrait of Pirates lately, which is pretty good, really saving that horrible aftermarket, because generally they are pretty good figures, and they usually choose characters that don't get stuff otherwise. So it's nice to have something like this, and in particular this figure is probably one of the only good looking Miss All Sunday figures they've done, and definitely the newest one they've done. Now this is based on her appearance when she was first revealed in Alabaster. The pose is a little bit weird, and this is their design as part of Baroque Works. Now the Playback Memories line is pretty much devoted exclusively to pre-time skip characters, because a lot of the old pre-time skip figures are actually quite old now, like about 15 to 20 years old, because the anime is, what, 24, 25 years old. They pretty much needed to update these things. So that's what the Playback Memories line is. It's old designs with new technology to make the figures of today look way better. And so I've been wanting this figure for a while. Nico Robin has quickly become one of my favorite characters in One Piece, and that's mainly due to narrative impact as well as character design. It's just something about her that I really like. Generally, I really like her character. Her flashback was devastating, and her whole character motivation and progression, I think, work really well. She's definitely like the most level-headed character in the entire Straw Hats. It's nice to have her along for the ride, and it's fun whenever she breaks character and plays along with everyone else. She's definitely having the time of her life. But this was back when she was an antagonist. So taken out of the box here is Miss All Sunday, also known as Nico Robin, and I will be probably bouncing between the two names constantly. It comes in 3 pieces, which is the figure, the base, and the hat. The hat's a little bit of an odd one because it doesn't really plug in anywhere, it just sort of like rests in between the hand and hair. I am worried about paint transferring, but if you just keep it in one pose, I don't think it'll really matter. And the gimmick of this figure is that you can take off the hat and you just have Nico Robin without the hat. And it just looks weird because the way her hand's posed, it needs the hat. It's a little bizarre, I don't know why they did it. But it's a feature, and you get to see more of her hair that way, so that's kind of neat. And you can kind of pose the hat however you want within it, as long as it's sort of held in place. But generally it's kind of minor in the grand scheme of things. So, general aesthetic of the figure, I will say I like the sculpt. It is a very nice sculpt, and it does capture her design from that early part of One Piece. However, I don't really like the pose. I don't really understand what's going on. She's sort of like jumping in the air, and the coat's tailing around a bit. The sleeve of her jacket's sort of coming down a bit, and she's holding her hat. Like, I don't really know it. She's got a really friendly smile on, which is a bit odd for the character at that time. I'm not really sure what's going on. I thought it would have been nicer if she had like her hand poses or something like that. It's just a bit of a weird pose for her to have. Nice enough figure, but I don't know if it 100% fits her as a character. It is also interesting that the coat is the part that connects into the base and not the feet, so this whole figure is being held up by that coat, and it all holds together rather well. The paint and detailing on all of this figure is absolutely immaculate. The gold paint on the jacket looks great. All of the fluffy ruffles look good. The deep metallic purple of her top looks really good. I think that they increased her bust size on this figure, if I'm being honest, or it's the way that the coat is like wrapped around her makes her hourglass model look even more prominent. But all of the paint detailing looks really good. The face detail in particular really captures her sort of post-Alabaster, not really like at this time because she would have been a villain, and I don't think that expression really suits her quite so much. All of the detail on the hat looks good. She's even got painted nails. The actual skin tone is nice. I like the tan sort of olive skin that Robin has pre-time skip. I know it was sort of like a misunderstanding for many years about what her skin color actually is, and it's a little bit of a shame that she lost a lot of that when it did do post-time skip. But there is still a little bit of a hint of that in her post-time skip design. But continuing on, her boots are nicely detailed up, the inside of the coat looks nice, the base is basic and pretty standard for Portrait of Pirates because they're always octagons, or almost always octagons, and they've got a cool Baroque Works logo in it, and I think that looks rather nice. I think the colour matches the figure quite well. It doesn't really distract from the figure's bright whites and the deep purple, so it looks nice. All of the actual texture and detail look good as well. Robin has this weird sort of cowboy aesthetic going on at this point in time, and I think it works pretty well in this figure, but again, the pose I think detracts quite a bit from it. But I can't find any paint errors on it. All of the shading is spot on, all the paintwork is spot on, everything looks great. And generally, I don't think there's that much for me to talk about then. It's just a really, really well made figure. Love her as a character, love the design, but I don't think this figure does her quite enough justice. But it's not going to stop me from liking the figure. I think as a whole it looks great, and I think if you line it up with other Playback Memories figures, it'll look great as well. I want to get a whole group of pre-time skip Straw Hats as well as post-time skip Straw Hats, and probably like Wano, and I think it'd be nice just sort of comparing them all. And they've done a few Playback Memories of the Straw Hats, so that's nice. I should probably grab a Sergei King because that came out fairly recently and looks really, really good, and probably the only time we'll get something like Usopp that looks cool for a while. But as it stands, I'm a little bit torn on the Robin just because I don't like the pose, but I literally like everything else about the figure. It is spot on paint, spot on sculpt, and it's just the weirdest pose for her. I just don't get it. Some people might really, really like the pose for her, but I just think it's a little bit off. But I can't deny how well made the figure is and how it captures the necessary details for her, like face, colour, and everything like that. And I do like it ultimately. I am keen to see more Playback Memories down the line. I would like to see them tackle a lot of post-time skip characters now, like when they entered the New World. I think they could do some really good figures with today's technology, because those figures are starting to get dated now as well. But we'll see as time goes on. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.